G'day guys, we're going to be talking about one of the most debated topics on the internet, Mac or Windows. What should you choose for music producing? You might be just starting out and you need to find a computer and a DAW, or you're looking for a change. Me personally, I'm an Apple user, so I use a MacBook Pro 14-inch with the Apple Silicon chip M1. Fantastic computer. Even today, what's it coming into 3 or 4 years old, and I have had zero problems, zero complaints with it. It's still lightning quick. I cannot say anything bad about it, honestly. I think it's one of Apple's most refined MacBooks they've made. There's no issues with this thing. It does everything that I needed to do. I've got nothing to really complain about in terms of the producing side of it. So I'll give you guys a bit of a backstory with myself. I went through school using a Windows computer, and I bought a Windows computer as my personal computer for home as well in that time from year 7 to year 12. And then in around 2012, I purchased my first MacBook Pro with all my birthday money. Since then, have never looked back. And I'll give you guys the rundown and the reasons for that. So the biggest reason is pretty simple. Obviously, being a little producer nerd, I do a lot of research on other big DJs like Calvin Harris and Avicii and Martin Garrix, the Swedish House Mafia. And when I was watching a Swedish House Mafia video, I was like, they're using Logic. And I was like, I want to be like Swedish House Mafia. I want to use Logic. And this is in a period of learning FL Studio. FL Studio was cool to learn on and everything, and I made my first songs on FL Studio. That's probably one of the easiest DAWs to learn and operate. So it's great for beginners. However, this could have been due to my PC, but I've heard that this is a common kind of issue, and it probably doesn't help that I pirated it as well. Anyway, you guys didn't hear that. It crashed a lot. It needed heaps of updates. It just couldn't handle my workload. It glitched. There was a lot of hurdles when I'm trying to make a song that just weren't necessary. And that really, you could say, crimped my producing process. And I hated that. Once I switched over to Logic, it was a breath of fresh air. Like, way less crashes. Updates were on Logic. You need to update it maybe once every several months, and it just works fine. It just does the job, does exactly what I needed to do. I can't say there's any issues. That's the main reason I use Apple. It's because of Logic Pro. Logic Pro is really intuitive. It's easy to use. It looks really clean. You can set up nice templates and colors and whatever, make it really neat. Love that digital audio workstation. I wouldn't choose anything else at this point. I have attempted Ableton Live. It's also a really good DAW. I've heard a lot of good things about it, especially for workflow. But yeah, I'm a Logic guy. That's what I use. The other really good thing about Logic is it's not a subscription payment. I don't know if it's changed now, but back in the day when I bought it, come to think of it, I got it for a steal as well. Back then it was like $300 Australian, and that was just a once-off payment, and I've permanently got it now. All the latest updates, everything, I own it. That's bloody awesome. I know Ableton Live goes well into the thousands if you want to own it fully, and then subscriptions, I just hate subscriptions. I like to just pay it once, own it, don't have to worry about it. Subscriptions, I've got to worry about 10 coming out for Netflix, 15 coming out for this, another 15 coming out for that. it all adds up over time. So yeah, to conclude, in essence, both Windows and Mac, they're both tools at the end of the day, and they both actually do a really good job. So I actually did buy a brand new Lenovo laptop for school, just because in sort of the corporate world, Windows and university world, Windows just tends to be the go-to. They don't really love Mac in there, whatever. But yeah, in essence, they're both tools. They're both really good today. It doesn't really matter whether you go Mac or Windows. They're both going to do what you need it to do, and you're going to get the job done as long as you pick a good computer with enough power. I'd say it's really personal preference. So there are some things. So now that I've got the Lenovo and I've got the Mac, I've been able to compare them both and see what I like better. And the Lenovo, for example, like I've been typing on Mac keyboards for over 10 years, and the Lenovo keyboard out of the box was just way better to type on. I was having less misclicks, and it was more accurate, and I don't know, it just flowed way better. Interestingly as well, using an Android phone also was a way better typing experience versus the iPhone. I think it's because of the haptic engine, and they just made it better, hands down, it's just better. But then, Apple just does things better as well. Like the CarPlay, for example. When I used the Android Auto, for some reason, I don't know if it's my eyesight, but it seemed a bit pixelated on my car. It was a bit laggy, wasn't working, like some features, whatever, just weren't working. And then the CarPlay, chucked that in. For some reason, it's more clearer and everything just works. It's smooth, it's less glitchy. Not sure, but that was my experience with it. It is personal preference. I think definitely have a look at your ecosystem as well. If you're using an Android phone, you've got a Google Home set up, you've got all sort of Android, Windows, Google products, you're probably going to want a PC or a Windows computer. If your ecosystem is Apple, you've got Apple TV, you've got an Apple HomePod, you've got an iPhone, you've got an Apple Watch, then you're probably going to want a Mac. And I can't, being primarily a Mac user, I can tell you the experience is fantastic, especially with the new Apple Silicon chips. It's been long enough now that the integration with all the apps and third-party plugins, whatever, everything works really, really well. You're not going to have any dramas. Yeah, so that's pretty much all I have to say. Do your research, have a look at what you might like, and thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.